What's up, YouTube family? I'm back with my second episode. I'm so excited that you're joining me on this road to starting my YouTube channel. Things have started off a little slow, but I'm learning along the way. But I'm here again with a second episode to talk about something that I feel that we all should know, learn, and grow with this topic. We're going to talk about communication. Communication is something that we all do, whether we do it verbally, we have our nonverbal communication. Some communicate differently through their own abilities, such as sign language. We have different languages that, different barriers to communication that we want to talk about. But today, I just want to get with the basics. I'm a leader within my organization, and a lot of my staff, we run into hiccups along the way. Well, I would say not even along the way, each day. And a lot of it boils down to communication. People not knowing how to communicate with one another. And so I've been finding myself in the position of teaching others how to communicate with each other. And it made me think about these things may seem simple to me now, but it's something that I had to learn along the way in order to work with other people and to not just think of things in my own perspective, but to think of things based on the point of view of the person that I'm talking to as well. Because, it might sound right to me. I think that I'm getting everything across that I need, but at the same time, how is that other person receiving it? And so that's called effective communication. So if you're communicating effectively, you're communicating in a way that it's coming across the way that you intend for it to deliver it, but also you're speaking it in a way that the person who's on the receiving end can receive it as well. So effective communication. So we talked about effectively communicating, but let's talk about also communication in different forms. So we live in a day and time now where we're constantly communicating with one another, and it's no longer on paper and pen. We communicate through text messages, emails, social media posts, and all. And a lot of times we feel like we're in our own world. I'm communicating with you all through YouTube right now. No one's here with me, but at the same time, I'm talking to you all. You're receiving things. But it's important to know how to properly do those things. So that's something that we'll take a deep dive in. And also, we'll learn along the way. We might talk about this, every episode. Let's talk about another form of communication. It's written communication. So written communication can be text messages, emails, social media posts. And the tricky part about those type of communication is there's no tone of voice. So you don't really know how the person on the other end is trying to come across. So what I find is most necessary is if you question something that someone is saying, just pick up the phone and call them. How easy is it to say, hey, girl, I got the message, but it just didn't come across the way I thought it was? Or can you make sense of what it is, as opposed to me looking at my text message and looking and be like, oh no, they didn't, or reading an email and being like, oh, they trying to get one up on me, not knowing that that person probably just typed the email or that text message on the fly, because a lot of times we're doing things while we're moving and not even thinking about the person on the receiving side. So when you question something, I always tell my staff, I tell others around me, just pick up the phone and call if you don't understand or you question how you receive something from someone, especially when you know the heart of the person. And even if you don't know the heart of the person, pick up that phone, calling can make a world of a difference. It's better to do that than to have misunderstanding, because that can go on and create other problems. So yes, written forms of communication is important to make sure that you are getting your point across clearly, but also you're receiving information clearly as well. I know I kind of talked on this earlier, but at the same time, if we don't communicate or we don't learn how to communicate properly, things start to boil over. I know that coming from a personal perspective, I am the type of person that used to, and probably still do from time to time, I would just say, you know what? They don't hear me. They're not understanding. I'd rather just just cut them off, not respond. My blocking game is strong. Um, but over the years, I've learned that that's not really effective because a lot of times these are close friends and things that you're cutting off because you failed to communicate something. So the best thing to do, and I get it, sometimes people, need time in order to communicate, but take your time, but don't take too long. I say give yourself maybe a day at the most to really sit back and think. But the best way to communicate could be in the moment if you're able to control your emotions. Not saying that it has to be an argument, because I don't think that, arguing solves anything. People should be able to, come to you and you not be offended by what they have to say, because 9 times out of 10, it's something that you may have said or did that's affecting them and they want to get their point across. So, find time, have lunch. The best time maybe to schedule something. Say, hey, do you mind if we set a time, have coffee or something like that, and let's talk. More than likely, they're gonna be like, "What did I do? Did I do anything wrong?" And they're gonna want to talk about it in that moment. But no, it's okay to set some type of boundaries around the situation where it's like, okay, we're gonna talk within this point in time, and then they have time to hear you out, hear what's going on, or vice versa. But it's very important to have that open communication, because you will ruin or lose great relationships with lack of communication. Ask me how I know. I was the one that would cut you off in a minute, but I've learned, I've grown, and now I'm here to help you. One last form of communication that I'm going to talk about is, well, it might come as a surprise, but it's a form of communicating without really moving your mouth or using words. It's listening. Listening is a form of communication. It can be tricky as well, because a lot of times, in this world, we want things to be quick. So we're listening not to understand what the person's saying. We're listening to respond. And that's always the wrong way to communicate, because if someone is communicating something to you, and I understand you may have, your passion, or you're fueled by whatever the conversation is, and you no longer are thinking about what they're saying because you already have a response in your mind, and now you might have missed 50% of the communication that was coming towards you. So it's important to, take a break. If you've already said what you had to say, just unwind or write it down, listen, and actively listen as well. So, like, if someone's talking to you, respond in a way that you hear them. And that could be with a head nod. That could be, slight gestures or whatnot. Um, don't try to be smart or sassy and giving all kind of facial expressions and moving your neck and eyes. But just take a moment, be patient, listen, and hear what they have to say. And then when it's your turn, you want the person to do the same thing for you. So it just takes patience in this conversation. If it's a one-on-one, just don't be rude. Listen to your people. Everyone has something to say, and everybody wants someone to listen. All right, so now I have 5 tips on how to improve your communication. So let's go with tip number 1. Number 1 says to say what you mean and mean what you say. That sounds easier said than done, but just be clear and be direct with what you're trying to say. Don't add too many "I feel" or this, that, the other. If something affected you or you want to get something across, just say it. Um, Watch your tone when you say it. Talk in a normal, clean voice. I know sometimes people, when they open up their heart or want to express something, they get emotional. Try to control your emotions, but like I said, say what you mean and mean what you say. And don't try to backtrack to save the feelings of the person across from you. If they really are there to support you, they will hear whatever's coming from your heart and, act accordingly. All right. Tip number 2 says be open to listening. So we already talked about listening. It says communication isn't just about talking, but it's about hearing and understanding the other person. So definitely open those ears. hear what they're saying. If this person is valuable to you, you want to hear them. So just take time to listen. Tip number 3 says to watch your tone and your body language. Don't be moving your neck all around, rolling your eyes while you're listening. Don't try to shout or get louder than the other person. If you feel that the conversation is escalating up, take a deep breath, come back to a neutral tone, and keep the conversation going. If you are able to identify that the conversation isn't going anywhere, it's okay to say, hey, we may need to get someone else involved in this conversation because it feels like it's getting escalated to the point where we're no longer able to control it ourselves. And nothing's wrong with that. A mediator is perfectly fine. All right, tip number 4, express and don't suppress. As I said before, a lot of times, we suppress things and it end up boiling over. If you see a pot, after you put that lid on, it's boiling. After a while, it's still going to come out. That top is not going to keep it from staying inside because that pressure is going to continue to build up until you explode, and it's going to have an ugly outcome. So you want to be able to express it before you get to that point. And then last, which I touched on before, be patient. Rome wasn't built in a day. Not everyone grew up in the same environment where open communication is encouraged. I know I didn't. My household, we were able to, argue, but when it came to open dialogue communication, that was foreign to us. So arguing was just a normal part of life, and I just took that with me into adulthood until I realized that this wasn't getting me anywhere. So those are my 5 tips. So now it's time to hear from you. If this video was able to help you, if we need to do a part 2 to it, let me know. I want to hear from you and see what lessons you learned about communication. So in the comment section below, please drop some lessons where you could either help myself, help the community. We're here to grow and learn from each other. But also don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And look out for video number 3. Hopefully this video helped you. Looking forward to growing as a family. So here we grow again. Talk to you all later. Thank you for tuning in.